So if you've been keeping your eye on the community notes just recently, you'll know that the Audi passed its UK MOT. But one thing the MOT guy did actually go on to say was that he thought that the rear driver's side caliper was actually binding. So in today's video we're going to have a look at what's causing the issue, how to diagnose it and how to repair it ultimately. So today's video starts with us taking a little drive. Look at this, it's looking super clean, looking good, yes. Welcome back. So I've had some really fantastic news this week. I put the car, the Audi A3, through its UK MOT this weekend and it passed. Because the MOT guy is a mate of mine, he did point out a bit of an issue. He said one of the rear calipers is binding a little bit. Now, initially, I kind of wrote this off as being, I kind of suspected to be fair, but I kind of thought as well that it might clear itself up with a bit of daily driving. And to be fair, I've been driving the car daily. It's a lot of fun, to be fair. It is a really, really good car. So today, we're going to be looking at that rear caliper. We're going to take it off, inspect it, see what's going on, and hopefully we can fix it relatively easily and cheaply. So I'd taken the car for a short spin around the block, and after that I used the infrared thermometer just to kind of quickly measure the temperature on the brakes. So that was the side that was apparently binding, and then on the passenger side it's significantly cooler. Hi. According to YouTube, 98% of you guys who regularly watch my channel are actually not subscribed. Now, as a small channel, I just want to stress the importance of hitting the like button, sharing the content, and ideally subscribing. Helps the channel grow, and it means I can keep bringing you videos like this. Join in with the community, leave a comment, and let's get back to it. So the first thing we need to do is get the car up in the air. So you can also tell there's an issue with that wheel when it doesn't turn easily, which is what causes the heat build-up, because what it's doing, so the heat build-up comes from on the caliper. The heat build-up comes because it's like driving with your brakes on constantly. That caliper is literally gripped and then is not letting go. And it can also wear out your pads pretty quick as well. So here's your caliper. This piece here, it comes in two pieces. This piece here is a caliper, and this bit here is known as the carrier. Okay, so this bit is bolted to the sort of rear axle, and this bit can actually be removed so you can get to your pads for when you need to change them. So that's the bit we're going to be taking off today. These little bits here, these move with the car, and these are called your sliders. Now sometimes they can, water can ingress inside these little boots, and that can cause the little slide pin to rust out. So we'll be checking them today and putting some more lubrication in. There's one at the top and one at the bottom, which is right there. And all you need to do with them is just undo the nut at the back. The whole thing then, the whole caliper part comes off, and it should allow us access to the piston, which is kind of inside, which does all the pushing. That's the thing I think is stuck. But then you've also got handbrake cable, which is there, which can be unhooked by using this little ball here. We can get rid of that. And then there's a couple of pieces of metal which rub against each other. So it could be that the issue's down there, that all this crud and corrosion is just causing the handbrake to stick. I honestly don't know at this stage, but oh no, it does move. So we'll check the sliders, top and bottom. We'll get the caliper off and we'll have a look at the piston. Ooh. So when you're undoing that back hex, what you might need is, if you can see, when we start to undo it, oh no, it's not too bad, but sometimes this nut starts to spin. You just need another spanner in there just to hold it all together, just to stop that from happening, and then you can undo it properly. Now if it doesn't want to come off, it means it's literally jammed. There it goes. There's our piston. And I think that piston is stuck in that out position and won't wind in. Now it looks a little bit like there's a surface rust sort of thing going on with it. You can actually peel back this boot and have a look. It looks pretty clean in there though. So I'm hoping this is just going to be a really simple fix. And it's just going to be a case of it just being seized, just being like jammed in. And I think by winding it back, we should be able to free it up. Now what this does mean is you do need a tool to wind this piston back. As you can see, it's got little cutout grooves right there and there, top and bottom. What you need to do with a piston rewind tool is it goes in, and then what you do is you wind it up and it applies pressure, but it needs to turn clockwise. So the little tool sits within the grooves and turns the piston and pushes it at the same time. I have got a couple of examples of these tools which I'm going to show you right now. So this is an example of what I would consider to be a budget piston rewind tool. You put this part inside the caliper, slot that in, and then you wind it out type of thing. And then with its little teeth, which you can see just there, is that they hook up with the cuttings that we saw earlier. So max speeding rods. This is not a paid for promotion. This is just me buying tools, and this was quite a good price. So the old style tool, this will probably set you back somewhere between 10 to 15 quid maybe. I think back in the day when I bought this, because it's quite old now, I think I paid about maybe 15 quid for it, 13.95, 15 quid, something like that. This is air powered for starters, and then you put your corresponding fitments on. I suspect that we're going to need something like this today. So this is the new tool for today, and hopefully that's going to solve the issue, and we'll give that a road test. And one thing you probably should consider when you're pushing the piston back is just to take the cap off the reservoir. It can actually cause a little bit of resistance and a little bit of pressure when it's all moving around inside, so if you just slacken that off, that should be more than enough. The little plate that you can see here sits in line with the caliper like that, and then just using a bit of air to lock it into place, push. I think, is that right? This thing is not moving. I think it might be a caliper off job, which is what I was trying to avoid ideally, just because I've got to bleed the system and it's a bit of a pain. But it isn't moving at all, so it could be a case of it might need a rebuild kit, or it could just be that the caliper's completely done, toast. What I did notice was this boot has started to come away, and all inside there is all kind of rusty and stuff. Now it doesn't look too bad because I've just sprayed a little bit of WD-40 in there just to try and help things along a little bit, but that boot should not be hanging out, which is exactly what's caused the issue, because like water and salt and stuff has got in it and it started to rust it out. So it could be that the whole caliper needs to be replaced, which is annoying. Now it was at this point that I actually realised the extent of the issue and how stuck this caliper actually was. I put so much pressure on trying to twist and push that piston at the time that I actually ended up, there's a tiny little split, little roll pin that kind of holds the end together, and I ended up shearing the roll pin. So that rendered the tool useless. I completely lost the plot and had enough for the day, and I put it all back together and did what any good mechanic would do at this point and jump online and go and buy some stuff. So today's not exactly gone to plan. I never actually got that caliper moving, but at least I know that it is the caliper now. I ended up breaking the new tool I then coupled together some pieces and pretty much broke the old tool, so I'm all out of tools. So I think the only thing now for me to do is to order a new caliper, and I will just have to update you as and when that turns up and when I eventually get around to it.
A few moments later.
I also made a decision about the actual caliper itself. I decided it was so seized and so stuck, I ended up buying a fully new caliper and pads and everything to match. So I'm just going to go all new. A rebuild kit probably wasn't too far off, but I couldn't get the piston to move, and that's the big issue. So it was cheaper and path of least resistance to go for a brand new caliper. So yeah, I actually went to GSF for a caliper, and they had one on the shelf, right there on the shelf, but they wanted 180 quid with a 30 quid surcharge, which basically meant that if I took my old caliper in, they'd give me 30 quid back, which made it 150 quid for just the single caliper on the driver's side rear. And I ended up jumping online, good old eBay, eBay discount code. I got a new caliper delivered for 55 quid. So it was a bit of a no-brainer really, and it looked exactly the same, to be fair. So, you know, no disrespect to GSF, but eBay just kicked your ass big time. So that's what I've gone for, that's what we've painted up, and that's what we'll be fitting today. So we're a little over 24 hours later, and fortunately for me, we've got our caliper. It has come, but as you can see, the weather has changed a little bit. And what I want to do is I want to just quickly offer this up, see if it's a good fit, see if I can see any sort of visual differences, because what I need to do is, if it fits perfectly, I need to paint it black like the rest of the calipers. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to quickly just dismantle it, offer it up, and then mask it up and paint it dead quick. This is how our freshly painted caliper's looking. Not a bad job, if I must say so myself. Got a couple of paint runs and stuff, but nothing serious. And I figured while we were in there taking everything apart, we might as well put in some new hardware. And of course, a bit of brake fluid for topping up purposes. With the car all back together and the brakes feeling good, and I'm pretty confident that they're pretty well bled now, all that's left to do is to take it for a quick spin and see how it all feels. And I'll tell you what as well, with the bigger turbo and the remap and all that kind of stuff that Paul had done previously, it does make a hell of a difference. That 250 brake horsepower doesn't sound like a lot, not by today's standards, but it's how it uses it, you know, it's how it puts it down. With the 4-wheel drive system and 250 brake horsepower and 403 or 4 Newton meters, it's quite a beast. The exterior of the car does not look modified at all. It's all kind of hidden. It's a proper sleeper. I'm just enjoying driving it, to be honest with you. So I've just come back, I've taken the car for a run, and I've just performed the same infrared test that we did before when that rear caliper was burning up, if you remember. I'll insert the results of that now. And yeah, I think that pretty much sums up this video. Yeah, if you're having similar sort of issues, hopefully you find this useful. I'll edit it down so it's nice and concise, but you know, make no mistakes, this thing did fight me a little bit. I had to take the wheel off again. I had to re-bleed the brakes because I wasn't quite happy that all the air was out, and sure enough, a little few more bubbles came out, so it was worthwhile doing.
Camera on red, let it convert. Pulled up late, hood popped in the driveway. Being about you sitting tired from the highway. Tools in a tray, coffee in a stained cup, hands in the engine bay, time to wake it right up. Oil on the floor, jack stands in position. Phone on the fender, filming every little fixin'. Rust on the bolts, but the vision still clean. See the thumbnail already on the screen. Back on the road again. That's a vibe, hit record again.